Good afternoon, everybody. I think we have enough people right now to get started. My name is Heather Paul. I'm the Assistant Director here at the Office of Community Development. If you've been watching the Water Sector Commission meeting today, you'll see that Tracy is still over at the Capitol presenting in front of the Water Sector Commission. So today I'm going to go over the new request for payment process with you, along with the new forms. I should be sharing my screen. So right now, everybody, if you have any questions, you could put them in the Q&A. And if there's any issues, I think I should be able to see it from there as well. This webinar is being recorded and we're going to post it on our website today. Again, questions can be entered into the Q&A and we'll go over those at the end. These are some important dates. We sent out a notice on June the 10th about new procedures for our office as far as changes to the payment process for water sector program. We started taking the new forms right away. And on July 31st, we'll no longer accept the old forms or the old way of submitting forms. And again, as a reminder, all of your funds must be expended by December the 31st of 26. We sent out authorization to incur costs and grant conditions letters at the beginning of your grant after you were awarded the funds. That letter shows how much you were awarded for construction and contingencies and anything for professional services or acquisition. So if there's some question about what it was that you had, that's in there and the CEA. But the breakdown is in that letter. And we cannot approve reimbursement for activities that were not included in the grant. This is the new water sector payment request form. And we also sent out instructions with this. You can find these on our website under the American Rescue Plan section. We'll go over those together. This is also a copy of our checklist. So this is what our grant reps will use when you send in a request for payment. They'll go through each one of these questions. So one thing you could do is check yourself before you send it in and make sure that these items are correct. This is some additional program requirements. The first one is that everybody has to have an active UEI number. It has to be registered in sam.gov. It has to show up there that it's registered. All engineers, consultants, prime contractors also have to have an active UEI number. We check all of those, and it's a requirement for federal funds. Remember that requests can only include reimbursement from state or federal funds. So if you have state funds for engineering, for example, along with construction costs, you can't put those together if they're the state engineering subfund. You have to do two separate requests. If you have projects that have funding from LDH or DEQ, those have to be approved before our office can process the request. And this is a new requirement, each grantee has to be enrolled in EFT transfer, so electronic funds transfer. And you'll have to do that through the Office of Statewide Reporting and Accounting Policy, or OSRAP. If there's a reason that you can't, you have to contact either Tracy or me. Documenting funds has also changed. With each request for payment, you can still send that in, but we don't require it to be sent in until the last payment request. So if you send it, we'll check it, we'll review it, but it won't be required until the last payment. And we'll take into account anything that you send us, but until you send us documentation of the match, like if you write it in on the form, we'll look at that, but we won't consider it as documented until you have sent in the forms, the documentation. The documentation has to include the invoices and the canceled checks. These are some resources that would be helpful. There's our website under the American Rescue Plan Act. That's where you're going to find the forms. And we'll go there in a minute and show you the request for payment form, and the instructions are located there. If you're not currently enrolled in EFT, there's the OSRAP website where you can sign up for that. These are U.S. Treasury funds, so that is there. And then in order to sign this document or to save it, you'll have to have Adobe Acrobat Reader, which is free, and that's the link for that. So now we're going to do an online demonstration. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. I just want to remind everybody, this is not only new for you, this is new for us. And even today when I was going through it, I saw some things that we need to adjust. So, you know, just we'll be patient with you, but we ask that you be patient with us. We'll work out the kinks and get it going. So let's see. I'm going to share in just a second. Let's see. So this is our website. This is our homepage. If you'll go to the American Rescue Plan and the forms page, this is where the new request for payment form and instructions are. And again, as we find kinks and things that need to be fixed, we'll update it and work it out, put it there. So this is the form. When you first open it, it's going to look like this, and you'll see that you can't add your digital signature. So what you need to do is download it and save it to your computer. And we're just going to give it a fake name for now. And then you're going to open it with, open it from Adobe. Let me see if I can remember how to do that, sorry. I think you can't see right now, but hold on just a second and I'll fix it. I'll make sure that you can, hold on. My screen sharing is paused. Hold on, sorry. So this option lets you always open it in Adobe Reader. I'm going to push no because I have a Pro, but you would push yes or no, whatever your situation is. And then you should be able to fill it out from here. You should have the option for the signature. I just want to make sure I'm sharing the right screen too. Yeah, okay. And so we're going to fill this out together. I already have the option. I've already set it up for my signature. So it should work, but I'll show you where you need to go as well. So you're going to put in your information. We're just going to do it together. Ours, for the sake, is just going to be Hudville. And then your address. So it's mostly the same on this part. But I think when I did it earlier, there might not be enough room. So I'll double check that there's enough space. Barely. So we might need to change it for your purposes. And then this is telephone number. And my share thing is in the way. So this is the date of the request, so the date that you're doing it. I'm gonna put in the future just because I wanna show you how to break down the ADD date of FY 1 and 2. So I'm gonna pretend like this is in September. You have to put the 2-month, or the 2-digit month and the 2-digit date and the 4-digit year, otherwise you'll get an error. This is your LASP number, that's found on your CEA. I probably stole that from somebody, and your tax ID number. And this is your UEI number, which is what we talked about, has to be registered in sam.gov, and it is alphanumeric. So just gonna make up some. And then your request number. So it'll be 1 through however many request numbers you are. If for some reason we send it back to you and you have to edit it or fix something, it'll be 1A or 1B, however many times you have to fix it. And then when it's your final, we ask you write like number 7 and then final. So for this, we'll just say it's number 1. And so when you have work that's done in more than 1 fiscal year, you're going to look at, it depends if it's contract work, what that period was, and then, or the last date of that fiscal year or the invoice, whatever it's dated. So if work was done, like 05/31 of 2024, through 6/30. And then you also had, it just wants the 1 date. So we'll put 6/30. I think that's different than the instructions, so I'll check that too. And then this will be 7/31, 2024, and again with the 0. So this is if I have 2 invoices and they span 2 different fiscal years. So any work done prior to 6/30/24 goes in the first line. And then the second line is if you have work that was 7/1 to 7/31. That's where the 7/31, because it's the end of that period. It'll go there. Number H1 is the amount of match funds that you're committing. This is depending on what you agreed to in the application process or the award process. Some people may have had theirs changed, so and that would be approved by the Water Sector Commission. So that's what you're going to use. But for our sake, we're going to say 1 million to make the whole numbers easier. And this is our first RFP. So we don't have any funds that have already been expended and documented in previous RFPs. This is our first one. So we're going to say 0. Number 3 is the remaining amount to be expended. So it's all of it because I haven't spent anything. So 1 million. And then the amount that's expended since the previous submission. So whatever you're attaching to this RFP, remember it's not required up until your final, but if you want to send it in, you can. So we're just going to say 50,000. And then you have to subtract the amount that's remaining. So section I is the grant amount. So whatever you were awarded. So we're going to say that it was 5 million. And then how much have you received to date? Again, this is your first one, so nothing. And then what's remaining? You subtract B from A, so it's all of it. You're going to get this CHF. I'll change it. It's just a different currency. And so that part's wrong, but we'll fix it. The sewer, if this was a sewer project, you'll put it here. If it's water, right here on line 1A. If it's water, you'll put it on 1B. And look, so these breakdown of the fiscal years go with row G. So anything that was prior to 6/30 is going to go under the FY1 column, and anything under the ADD FY2, which is going to be 7/1 to 7/31 of 24, is going to go here. So it just depends on what was on each one of these invoices. So again, we're just making up numbers. So if I'm gonna say that it's 50,000 for the first one and 25,000 for the breakdown for FY2. So you can see that this is per fiscal year and then it's per activity. So you have to look back at your authorization to incur cost letter if you're not sure, to see what you're approved for. So if you have like both sewer along with engineering funds, and again, it's only going to go on the same RFP if they were approved for water sector funds and not the engineering sub funds by the state. So in this case, we're just going to put 10,000 here. I don't know why this isn't totaling, but we found out if you put a 0 here, it'll total at the bottom. So might just be better if you put the 0 so it's totaling up correctly. You can double check. It should total all the way down for each column, and then this row should total across. So this is the amount that you're requesting. From L down, this is the state's part to fill out. So you're really just going to sign. This person has to be somebody on the financial management questionnaire that you submitted to our office. So whoever you put to sign a request for payment. So you're going to put today's date. Remember, I fudged on the date, so we're going to put 9/30. And we're going to put my title, in this case, mayor. And then I'm going to sign it. And I already have a digital ID set up, so mine just pulls from that. It's really easy to walk through the Acrobat Reader setting up a digital ID. So, but if you have problems or questions, if you're not sure, you can contact us and we can walk you through it. You'll have to set up a password to do it. So each time you use it to sign in, you have to enter the password. I remember. Well, I apparently don't know what my password is, so let me see if I can configure a new one. So you can, if you forget, apparently you can just write over it. So that's fine. So save, and then it should sign. I promise y'all. Well, we're gonna try one more time. All right, cross your fingers. And then it gives you the option to save it. In this case, we will do that and now I'll replace it. And then it signs. So from here, you need to email this version. So we do not want you printing this out and filling it out by hand. You should be filling it out electronically like we did today, hopefully with less issues on the whole signature part. And so this is the way we want it. If you fill it out by hand and email it to us, we're likely to send it back and have you redo it. So I get it might take you a couple of tries or couple of practice RFPs to get it right, but it's not that complicated to figure out. And so it should be done electronically and it should be mailed electronically, because if you print it out and do it, we don't have the option to fill any of this in ourselves. We'd have to handwrite over it, and we also couldn't approve it by signature. So we want you to fill it out electronically, submit it to us electronically, and then we can finish it from there. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint presentation so you can see the rest of the information. I see lots of Q&As already, so hold on just a second. So after you complete your request for payment, you're going to email it to your grant rep, whoever that is, either Miss Gwen Thomas, Miss Gwen Scott, or Suzanne, along with Tracy and me. And remember that we're here to help you, and we'll kind of figure it out together. These are the email addresses. Again, I'm going to post this on our website so that you have it, and that you need to email it to each one of us. This is our Facebook page. We post reminders and information about upcoming webinars, water sector commission meetings, anything that's been updated, it'll go here. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to look at your Q&As. Let's see. Now repeat the part about the local match. Somebody said we're able to send local match documentation, but it won't be considered until the final. We're only going to pay what our portion is, or the water sector portion is. And so you can send it, but you don't have to send it. We will look at it if you do send it though. If you have documentation that needs to be scanned, can you physically sign this form and scan with all the other information? No, we want you to, if you have, everybody should have invoices, and you might have something else that needs to go with it. All that can be scanned and then just emailed in a separate attachment, or you can combine it all. Either one is fine, but this one needs to be done electronically. Somebody said you separate fund requests by fiscal year when work was done or when the request was made.